Okay, so just like when we did our supply and demand analysis individually, we will continue to do that analysis in terms of shifting of curves with both curves. So in other words, now we'll still have changes in Piner, we'll still have changes in get in that will cause your supply curve or your demand curve to shift to the right or shift to the left. And now what we want you to be able to tell us is when that happens, what happens to equilibrium? What is it that happens to that market clearing price? So if you look at this first one, this first graph that I've drawn for you, and you probably want to go ahead and draw that if you're taking notes. In this situation, right, we had our initial demand curve and supply curve, and this shows an increase in demand. Demand is shifted to the right. Our equilibrium price was here. Now our equilibrium price has risen, so that caused the price to go up. Then we have our equilibrium quantity here. Our new equilibrium quantity has risen. So when your demand increases, your market clearing price and your equilibrium quantity will go up. So if more people want something, if people's incomes rise, if the number of buyers increases, if our expectations increase, or if we have a situation with a complementary good or a supplement good, a substitute good, any of those things that cause demand to increase, your equilibriums will go with it. Conversely, if you have a decrease in demand, your equilibrium price will fall and your equilibrium quantity will go down. Notice that it's not just one of them. So anytime your demand goes to the left, your equilibrium price will fall, your equilibrium quantity will fall. All right, with our supply curves, it's a little different. Okay, so this first graph, think about what this is showing. We have an initial supply curve and an initial demand curve. Then our supply curve is shifted to the right. Right is raised. That's an increase. So that increase shows us a fall in equilibrium price. So think about that in the real world. If you have something like, I think about cell phones. You all can't imagine a world without smartphones, but Coach Hirsch and I both lived through that world where very few people had the initial first cell phones, and they were incredibly, incredibly expensive. But then as technology changed and they became more pervasive and the supply of those goods could increase, the price also went down. Now, these are remember, ceteris paribus. We're looking at one factor changing. I know that smartphones are really expensive and all that sort of thing, but generally speaking, if the supply of something will go up, that makes the equilibrium price go down, but the equilibrium quantity has risen, right? So if you think about where your initial supply curve and quantity curve were, you come down to quantity, then you have your supply that shifted rightward, come down, my equilibrium quantity has risen along that horizontal axis. If you have a decrease in supply, meaning you have a leftward shift of your curve, something's going to become more expensive. Your market clearing price is going to rise, and your market quantity, your equilibrium quantity, is going to go down. So what we're going to do on the next slides is we're going to give you an opportunity to practice this. I'm going to put some practice problems in here, and then you're going to go through and draw them so that you can check and see if you're getting it right.